All right, Maple Memo. Addressing recent issues and upcoming content. Lay it on us, Savage Ace. Hi Maplers, I'd like to provide you all with an update of the current state of MapleStory, including the reboot stability issues, the recent announcement regarding changes to the Kishin Shokan skill, timelines regarding the release of certain content this year, as well as address a few other topics we know you are concerned about. Okay, let's see if that covers everything that we had in the boycott list and all that stuff. Let's see if the boycott had some results. Well, this is already one of the results, but it has some good positive results. Let's see. Lag and server instability issue. Over the past several weeks and during several periods over the last year or so, we know that the server lag and latency issues have been an ongoing problem in the Reboot World server. Well, on specific channels, mainly, right? First of all, I sincerely apologize that this is still happening and that our teams have not been able to mitigate it yet. There's the first we apologize. If you had a bingo card, make sure you tick that box. As many of you have reported and discussed within the community, although these issues seem to be most severe during our summer and winter updates when there is a larger influx of players, the server lag also persists in between those updates and the severity of the issue seems to be different between reboot channels. Yes. We're continuing. I like how to say seems to be different. Like, you look at the login screen at any time and there's like 8 channels, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 channels that are full and 21 of them that are empty. But, you know, there seems to be somewhat of a pattern. We're continuing to conduct a thorough investigation with several of our teams to see if the issue is caused by certain contents or systems within the code or our server infrastructure. However, we are not able to find the root cause yet. Okay, well, that's probably also like we're still looking into it. Please hang tight. That's got to be at least one box on your bingo card as well, guys. Is the bingo shared between us? No, everyone has their own bingo card. No cheating. No cheating off your neighbor. We highly suspect that the lag is caused by the increased amount of information that has to be handled with the increased number of players, but we are also investigating other potential causes, like if there is particular player behavior that has become more prevalent recently, that may be increasing the amount of information needing to be handled by our systems. All that being said, there's still the combination of that, even if that is all a thing, there's still also the thing of the channels. I feel like the main thing is to look into what is the difference between those channels and the other channels, and make all the other channels like the existing channels. I feel like that has to be the start, no? Rather than looking at player behavior or something. I feel like you just need to analyze how are the other channels different than the ones that are breaking. And then make them all like the ones that aren't breaking. I feel like that's the start, right? That's the... No? Is that weird? Is that weird how I'm thinking about that, guys? Is that... This is my 2 cents, I guess. It's close to 50% total cost from what I saw the Great Games. But you could throw it into the calculator. You could just tick both of the events and then see what the costs are compared to a completely off event. It looked like around 50% discount. Okay, we are utilizing various performance monitoring systems at the moment to investigate the issue further. I hope they get to the bottom of it quickly. In parallel to this investigation, we're also looking into a way to optimize several aspects of our systems in an attempt to mitigate the lag as soon as possible. Okay. Again, we apologize this is taking a long time to look into the issue, but I wanted you to know that we will be continuing to look into this issue with a high priority, okay? Although said that alleviating server lag and reboot is ultimately the goal, we do want to provide you all with a small token of our apology and appreciation for bearing, spoiler, with us as we continue to work on this. Now, the question is, did they copy the New Year gift box from KMS? That's going to be the question here. We want to provide you all with a small token of apology and appreciation. We plan to provide you all with an apology gift that you will be able to claim once per account when you log into the game after our version 2.30 game update maintenance, currently planned for February 9th. Yeah, because we're in 2.29 now, okay. The specific contents of this gift for all players are the following. What was in the KMS one? It was a 30-day sherbet pet. Was it 200... symbol selector coupons, 40 sacred symbol selector coupons. Was there a Mitra EXP box in there? Magnificent growth box, Typhoon growth box, 3 extreme growth potions, symbol selector. Oh, only 100. They increased it in well, if the symbol selector coupon also allows you to pick up Grandis ones, then I'll take that, dude. 30-day Sherbet Pet, 5 Master Crossman, 5 Meister Cube, 30 Maple Tour VIP Pass coupons. That's a bit different. Is it the same? I feel like there's... Is the cubes the same? Wait, really? Hang on. What was it a part of? Was it the live talk? Maximum growth potion, selective growth potion voucher. Oh no, see they had an experience core gemstone. Very different, okay. Selective symbol voucher, 100 arcane symbols or 25 authentic symbols. Mannequin beauty award. No, it's not exactly the same, guys. It's just pretty similar. It's just pretty similar, okay? It's not... It's the Walmart brand New Year's gift. Yeah, kind of. I mean, I don't think too many people are going to be sad about a 30-day Sherbet Pet. Is it going to be hashtag road to diamond again? Is that... Dude, there are going to be people who like drop down, who were like on the way down to silver, who are like immediately like picking back up diamond. Was it a different reward for live talk and not the New Year one? Oh, was there another one? I was thinking of this one though. Oh, maybe I wasn't. No, I wasn't thinking of this one because this one did have the part of this one. Where's the Sherbet one? Oh, it was was it this one? No. Wait, do they spell sherbet differently? When did they announce that one? Dude, orange mushroom, why do you fucking do this? I click on a thing, I click back, and it takes me to a different page with different things on it. When you're like on page 2, it takes you back to page 2, and then you can't scroll up to page 1 anymore. Destiny Showcase? Fuck, I don't remember where it was. If I look for sherbet here. Wait, this does show up. Wait. Oh, base reward for Sherbet Pet, lucky reward for... Oh, wait, that's part of Petite Pet time. Oh. I don't remember exactly. Okay. So that's one. So they haven't found what's going on yet. They're investigating both server infrastructure, player base behavior, any kind of metrics that they have their hands on, any combination of these metrics probably. All of this is what they're keeping an eye out to see what exactly is causing the instability. So I guess that they're not at any point to be able to disclose why it's happening or that they have the thing that they're trying to fix it. They're still just fully in investigation mode. So on the one hand, it kind of sucks because I feel like this investigation stuff should have started like a month ago or something. Because it's here like the last weeks, but it's, I mean, how long has it really been? It's been at least like 5 weeks that it's been really bad, but before then it wasn't like it was great, right? Servers have always been like, eh. Well, how long have we been talking about Prime channels? Let's ask that question, right? That's months at this point, right? Isn't that since the summer update? What's the Magnificent Growth Pot? I believe that's the free level all the way up until 249. Wasn't it ever since we got 30 channels? Well, I think when we started to get 30 channels, nobody really went into 20 to 30. But still, all the channels below 20 were all still considered to be decent. I think we started finding patterns as soon as that happened, though. As soon as everyone was in the channels 1 through 20, I think we started seeing differences in maps. It's possible that it just happened with that, yeah. Since Awake? Yeah. Dogshit maps are a thing since Rise. That is so long, though. Like, how are they now saying we haven't found it yet, but it's only been like a few weeks? As if that it's like a pretty recent issue. Just because we started crying about it because it's taken too long doesn't mean that it hasn't been I don't know. I don't know to which level it's complacency or to which level it's really just they don't know and they just keep on going until players are like, hey, this is very important. You need to look at this. If anything, it's a lesson for us as well, is that we need to like complain in a hardcore way sooner, so that stuff gets fixed way sooner. It kind of sucks that it works that way, but apparently that's how it works, right? Huge reboot, is it still worth making a Kanna after the Kishi nerf? Yeah, definitely. I don't know what the... there's nothing I can read in this memo that they could do to Kanna that will make me say no, a Kanna is not worth it on your account. There's absolutely nothing. What would make it not worth making a Kanna? If their bind got nerfed to a regular bind, if their domain was not a party skill anymore, was only solo, if Kishin spawn boost got completely removed, if all of those things were true, it would still be worth to make a Kanna. Like there's... So the answer is still yes, but maybe for different purposes, right? Also, I'm still reading it and I haven't gotten to that part yet, so... Yeah, just for the Legion and the Link skill, it's already like a high priority for your account. So I believe this is the free level up to level 249, right? And then Typhoon is a free level up until 239, and then the Extreme Growth Potions, I believe... Wait, Extreme Growth Potions, are those the ones where you get up to 10 levels on the lower ones up to 200? Are those the extreme ones? I didn't make a bingo card, Noah, but I got at least 3 boxes already with what they were saying. Wait, that link doesn't work. The last time you linked it, it worked. Wait, is the hashtag supposed to be a slash? Or like a / or something? 1 to 10 levels up to 200, okay. Symbols like a coupon, yeah, Sherbet Pet, yeah. And then Maple 2 VIP passes means just extra mezzos. Bonk potions, yeah, essentially. Then, Kanna's Kishin Shokan skill. As many of you know, the Kishin Shokan skill has undergone several updates within the past few years. Yup. And internally, we have been constantly reviewing the effect of these changes and continuing to discuss the future of the skill. And the general trend has been very, very obvious for the last, I want to say like 3.5 years. It is a hashtag, it works. Oh wait, so if I just select the whole thing like this and then right click and go to, it should work? Oh, it says generate card. Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah. MapleStory Cinematic Universe. Yeah, I don't think that was going to be part of the... Vec Pets? I mean, does it count? If there's a 30-day Sherbet Pet, that's not technically what this box is for, but I think it counts, right? Well, tentatively, Exxon sells MapleStory to Tencent. They blame COVID? Wait, who made this thing? Delayed New Year's rewards? Is that essentially what it is? Maybe it'll count as this one. Yeti Pink Bean event? Dude, that is some... Dude, this bingo is like half hopium, half copium, bro. What the fuck? Oh, this is a free space for sure. This is a free space. I actually haven't seen the Bebe box yet. This one is not even done yet. Next one, invest another 400 mil into Bitcoin. Dark Doom return. Dude, that's copium. Copium. Hopium. Copium. No, hopium. Hopium. Azrael resigns. Wait. The community manager? Why? Oh, because all the community managers leave after like a year? How long is anyone keeping track of how long we've kept all of our community managers so far? Ignoring the boycott? Ooh, that's a ballsy one. Wonky acknowledges GMS's existence. That's a pure cope. What the fuck? All right. In late 2018, we I had mentioned that changes to Kanna Kishin were inevitable due to the stress the skill was causing on our server processing and the unintended ways that this very powerful skill was being used by players, which conflicted with the overall direction of the game. Wait, okay, unintended way that people were using the skill? Oh, you mean like people were key weighting? Because people, yeah, don't give a shit about the integrity of the game, they just care about the numbers that they get at the end. Yeah, sure. The first of many of these changes occurred in 2019 and reduced the overall effectiveness of skills monster respawn time, altering effects to combat illicit use, as well as introduce other ways to encourage players to take advantage of the benefits of the skill offered. Then in 2020, we made further adjustments to the skill. That was already a little bit over a year ago, I guess a year and a half ago. Further adjustments to the skill to reduce the effectiveness even more. Again, it felt it was necessary to make these changes since we saw that our initial changes in 2019 had not really addressed the core issues we wanted to address. Even though this skill had negative ramifications on the game balance and server processing, we took an... No, they're not talking about Kishmules and 2PC meta. Because that is 100% something that you would... maybe that's not intended, but it is something that's 100% within the scope of what you're going to expect people to do. What they meant is like the long durations and the constant refreshing of Kishin all the time because of people key waiting. And it was the constant refreshing of all of the monsters that was stressing the servers too hard, which had them change it again in 2019. Because a lot of people... Like every single person in CLP basically had a Kanna in the top right corner that they were key waiting Kishin on, because you could just see the characters respawning Kishin like every 3 seconds, like instantly until their mana ran out, and then whenever their mana went high enough, it would instantly Kishin all the time. 99% of people in CLP at that time were all key waiting. That's the thing that they're referring to. First major changes occurred. First major changes occurred in 2019. We reduced the overall effectiveness of the skill's monster respawn time-altering effects to combat illicit use, as well as introduce other ways to encourage players. Yeah. Then in 2020, we made further adjustments to the skill to reduce the effectiveness even more. Again, it felt like it was necessary to make these changes. We saw the core issue that we wanted to address. Even though this skill had negative ramifications in the game balance and server processing, we took an incremental approach to adjusting Kishin Shokan since the skill was so powerful. We wanted to gather more data after these changes to help determine a course of action that would align with the overall health and direction of the game while considering all the feedback from players. I mean, yeah, it's basically something I've been saying since like I started streaming in 2016, right? Like, it's very clear that that skill is upsetting the entire balance of the game, but you can't just like delete it overnight or something. People would go fucking crazy. Plus, it'll be really unfair to people who just come in. They'll have a huge disadvantage against the people who've been able to use it for hundreds or thousands of hours. So you have to like slowly wean everyone off of it, and that's going to be really annoying every time there's a nerf and there's like a huge uproar and there's like a huge change, but it's kind of inevitable unless you want the game to just die. New players coming in are going to be like, oh wow, I have to just farm on this character for thousands of hours or I can't even play the game. Well, I guess I'm out then. And the only people that you're left with is like a smaller kind of like jaded community who kind of takes everything for granted and wants more. And those are the only people that are left in the community, and those people are generally also a little bit more or less welcoming or more unwelcoming, I guess, to new people coming into the community. And it's pretty difficult to for your overall health of the game and your player base retention and your bottom line. That's very not good. So yeah. So I get, like, it's inevitable. It's not great. It's not, it's not an ideal situation, of course, but it is inevitable. I just rewatched The Matrix. Okay, that word is etched into my brain. They gather more data. Behind the scenes, we discussed at length all of the feedback you provided regarding the skill and changes we made, reviewed data on how the skill was being used, and what effect it had on the overall balance and future direction of the game, and what sort of effect these would have on the new player experience. Well, okay, I basically just said what I said. After a recent discussion, the next step we plan to take for this skill is to remove the monster respawn time altering effects of the skill and replace it with a 10% increase to EXP gain. The monster respawn time altering effects. So not the amount of monsters, but just how quickly they respawn. Oh, that's probably the worst part of the two to get rid of. Because it's always going to feel better for people to kill more monsters, even if the EXP per monsters is worse, than to kill fewer monsters, even if the total EXP stays the same. Because, like, sitting in a map waiting for monsters to respawn is really fucking boring. So if they want to, like, nerf the total amount of EXP, I think it's always better to have fewer monsters on a map, but to have them cycle back faster. I think that's just for like the mental aspect for people playing the game, I think. Then again, most of the people farming aren't even looking at their screen. They're just they wait for an alarm to go off and then they walk around the map and then they put their things down. Like, I'm pretty sure streamers who farm are just looking at the chat only, and most of the other people are either talking in Discord with their friends or they're watching Netflix or anime. So maybe they're not even watching it. So maybe the effect isn't as big, I think, mentally. But if you're really like looking at your screen and you're like, oh, I killed all the monsters. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. Oh, I killed all of them. Like, oof. I know. And again, by itself, it can be not bad, but the contrast between having that faster versus going down in that is always going to feel bad. And I wonder if we're going to be able to get over that. I wonder. But, you know, welcome to Totem life, I guess. I plan to introduce this change in our summer update later this year. So I guess we have to really have specifically that, when they say specifically, the monster respawn time altering effects. If they really just mean only the part where it makes your monsters appear faster and not the part where it makes more monsters appear on the map. I would have liked them if they mentioned it 100% clear that those two are like separate boosters, and that one of them is being affected and the other one isn't. Because right now, I'm not 100% sure if I'm reading it correctly. It could also mean that they just stripped it of everything that has anything to do with the altering of spawn. But it does say specifically time, so I'm reading it as that for now until we get it actually like clarified, I guess. 10% increase to EXP gain, something that farmers definitely also don't want. Because if anything, they want less EXP. I plan to introduce this change in our summer update later this year. Okay, that was summer update, so that is probably another 6 months, depending on if we're keeping the KMS schedule, because KMS has been delaying in the year their updates, where the current update is going all the way until early March. It might be possible that it's going to be like August or something by the time we get this update. July or August, so that could mean that we have another 7 months of this, which gives you plenty of time to start working on the transitionary phase. How big exactly the changes to the rates are going to be, of course, you know, people are probably already number crunching, so if you did the maths or you know someone who did, leave a comment down below. But almost in time for Bleach 2022. True. Damn, a lot of people were probably planning to binge that while they were farming though. Okay, although a decision has been made considering the health of the future game environment and the new player experience, we will continue to adjust other Kanna skills in order to ease the transition of this change for those who play Kanna as their main character. Yeah, it's probably going to sound bad for someone who doesn't main Kanna, but that's absolutely not necessary. The character's already, like, even with this, is still, like, brain dead, one of the top classes in the game by far. Like, there's no need to compensate with any kind of making them stronger. Because what are they going to do with all that extra strength? Like, there's no monsters to kill anyway. What are you going to do with that? Gut domain? No. This sounds like they. Yeah, if anything, you could probably give more nerfs to Kanna, and they would still be prominent in the meta. Like, this kind of feels like when they made it easier for Mihails to upkeep the stacks of Royal Guard, they also adjusted downward the attack buff that Royal Guard gave. And it's like, okay, but Mihail is like in all the relevant damage output tiers, like garbage tier. Why would you feel like you need to nerf them just because you gave them something better? Like, you can give them this net increase just to get them a little bit more in line with the other characters. Like, there's no need to compensate this in any way with like a nerf. Like, why are you doing this to Mihail? Just let them have this thing, right? Or it's like whenever something happens to Phantom and they get some kind of buff, immediately somewhere else they need to take something from them. It's like, why? Phantom is not like #1 class that's like outperforming everyone. There's no need. Like, just let the change go through and see what happens to them. Why do you immediately have to like cut them down at the knees again, you know? And this is like, kind of like the other way around. It's like, oh, they're getting a slight nerf on this, but we'll see if we need to compensate. I can already assure you that you don't have to. Because this class has a lot of things that it could completely lose, and it would still be a very, very good character, a very high pick. Again, the mental aspect of having mained this character, having spent thousands of hours in this character, it'll probably have, you know, a negative mental effect. But Like I always preach, I think it's a good thing to look at the things that you've gotten versus looking at the things that you're missing out on, right? If you look at all of the billions that you have made with all of the kit and everything, and you can look back at, it's been a good ride. Like you've gotten a lot of stuff. You've gotten a lot of mileage out of your investment, okay? If you're just on the beginning levels of investing, I guess, in your Kanna, you still have probably around 6 months to return on that investment. It's still going to be very much worth it. But start planning for the future. Start planning for after that, if you plan to still play the game that far in, of course. Start thinking of alternatives, which is mainly just when you're training, getting meso drop rate gear on your main, and working into more bossing mules and stuff like that. Okay, and then we have upcoming content plans. So somewhat of a... Wait, did you have that on the list? Kishin Nurse, yeah. Dude, I would have made a different bingo card, but... Okay. Oh my god, what is this? What is this? One of the many things we fail to communicate to you is clear information about our upcoming content plans. Roadmap. That's something that KMS has actually only really started this year as well. After my last memo, I know there was confusion about the plan to release 64-bit client and Yeti Pink Bean World content in Global MapleStory. Both of these things needed to be reviewed more carefully, so it was difficult to confirm the schedule at that time. However, today we can confirm that we plan to release both of these in our March update this year. That is pretty huge. That is pretty huge. Dude, where's the Bebe box? Dude, I swear, I will invest 400 million into Bitcoin myself in Nexon's name if it gives me this bingo, dude. Where's the other one? Yeti, Pink Bean. Oh, that's a corner. Ezra Bell, please do this one. Ezra Bell, do this one solid for me. Can you shut down the game and just resign as GM? Just so we can add this. Just resign for like 2 minutes, just so I can tick the box, and then you just take your job back, and you just uncancel. You know. We also see, oh yeah, we need like a major canceling or something. Never mind, that's maybe too spicy of a meme. We also see a lot of questions and confusion about when certain content will be released in Global MapleStory and why it may not be released within the time limit that you may be expecting. As you know, Global MapleStory has years worth of content. Years worth of content. I don't think it needs an apostrophe right there. There's not possessive, right? Here's look on the specifications that all need to work together smoothly, so that large amount of content needs to be taken into consideration when introducing even small changes and quality of life improvements that may seem trivial. Yeah, I don't even want to look at the code and see what needs to be changed for like a very small thing to be implemented. Like regular code already like scares me, and Maple code would just give me nightmares, I think. We plan our content roadmap based on the timeline we need for several parts for this process. This process includes reviewing how long it will take for us to implement this content to fit with Global MapleStory, discussion within our teams on how this content will interact with other Global MapleStory content, while allowing ourselves time to iterate on the changes if necessary. And personally, what I think is, I think there's a pretty short window of like heads up when KMS is like, okay, this thing is ready, go implement it, good luck, versus them just waiting for stuff from KMS that's like ready to implement. But that's just my, purely my personal speculation. In order to clear up some confusion about when some content will be released this year, please see below a tentative high-level timeline for when we are planning to release certain content for Global MapleStory. This might forever dispel the idea that I had, that they basically kind of like know what's coming in summer and winter and like anniversary event, because that shit's already like, I have 6 months and 1 year down the pipeline from KMS, but that everything else is at most 2 months ahead of time. So maybe they have somewhat of an idea up to summer, but like past summer, in between summer and winter, I don't think they have anything yet, right? Let's see, February Tower of Oz content and reward improvements. Is that like the extra, the floor changes plus the extra box for the 100 shards? I don't think we have that part yet, right? The box thing and instance maps, yeah. That's actually going to be really crazy. The chances of getting the high tier box rings from those boxes is insanely high compared to the other stuff. So if you have a bunch of the ring pieces, ring box pieces and stuff, make sure you save those up for this. It's going to be pretty big. Additional quality of life improvements and bug fixing for guild skills, abilities, various reboot world content. I don't remember what that exactly is referring to, but we probably went through the patch notes on KMS through like Orange Mushroom before. Choo Choo Food Festival event, cube and flame adjustments. Increased availability of flames from elite monsters and elite bosses for all worlds. Removal of cubes and flames related items from sources that contributed to less than 1% of overall players' acquisition methods. This is going to be like from Monster Collection and stuff, right? I mean, it's less than 1% because they were very rare, not because people didn't participate in it sometimes, right? I don't know if the number means like people weren't participating in it or it was just so rare that people gave up on it. Because if you just increase the rates, more people will participate in it if it's a more reasonable way of getting the resource. It's not like, oh, it's underplayed, so we should just remove it. It's like, no, it's underplayed because it's shit, so you should just make it better, and then more people will play it. I feel like I don't know the numbers 100%, but I could totally see how they can take the wrong conclusion from the same data. Adjustments to the set effects of Absolab and Arcana Umbra equipment. All right, so that's all in February. Yeah, the other thing that I worry about here that I don't see mentioned at all is we were promised an increased accessibility to flames and cubes in GMS, and then what happened, and that was like what KMS did, but because we get flames and cubes in a different way, mainly for bossing, for us it ended up being a nerf, and then they ended up having to roll it back, and then another patch came and it got nerfed again, and then they had to roll it back again, blah, blah, right? But the problem is that they said we're still going to look into ways of getting you access to more cubes and flames, but where did that go? Is that dude, this song is way louder than the other ones in the playlist. Where did that go? That seems to have gone completely lost. That and the rates. Show us the rates. Those two things. Maybe they'll still pop up in some way, but those two things I think are pretty important to not forget at this point. Cash transfers. I mean, it's KMS. I remember KMS specifically promising it for KMS. I don't remember GMS promising that at all. That there would be more cash transfers. Did they? Is that what I mean by various reboot world content? I don't remember exactly what falls under that. I mean, it's a pretty vague catch-all, so... I mean, that's what roadmaps are, right? Like, anything that's ready at that point, just throw it in. Stuff that is not ready, throw it into the next one. Rates shadow feature. Adjustments are set for Absolab and Arcane Umbra equipment. And March 2022 is going to be, quote-unquote, just Yeti and Penguin World and a 64-bit client. This is like old content for KMS, but I've got my fingers crossed that this will change anything. I don't know if it will. I hope that they worked out all the bugs before implementing this that KMS got when they implemented the 64-bit client. In a way, this is kind of like earlier than I was expecting it for GMS, to be honest. Because KMS did have problems with the 64-bit client for quite a while after they first released it, so that's interesting to see. I just hope it works when it implements. I don't really care when they do, but just that it works when it does, you know? Yeti and Penguin World, this is the first Penguin event that we've gotten in, I think, 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm glad this is finally coming back. It's not quite lab server, which I know a lot of people would have wanted, but it's something somewhat similar. You get to play different classes, one-time classes, that might never come back with new skills and everything, in a separate world with separate boosts. And there's some titles there, best in slot titles, a new best in slot title that's even better than the Holy Pink Beanie best in slot title right now. So a little bit of min-maxing for endgame people as well. So that should be interesting. Boss revamp and summer patch is a bit weird. That's really late. The crystals? Reboot World Intense Power Crystal price increase from 3 to 5 compared to non-reboot worlds. Oh, they're waiting up for summer? I wonder if they... For KMS, that wasn't part of the anniversary, was it? But they've already laid the groundwork for the crystals, though. Like, they already fucked the weekly cap for the crystals up. They already implemented the visibility for the crystal value. Yeah, that's really weird that that's so far down. Yeah, they got it together with the slime. Yeah, exactly. That was another weird thing, though, that they had the live patch with the weekly bosses for black beans in it, but then the slime boss that came out with the patch wasn't part of the black bean. Like, that's the perfect way to integrate the new content immediately into the ongoing event, so people immediately want to participate in the content. That's like a dream scenario to immediately weave it into people's dailies and weeklies, so that's kind of weird that they didn't. C4-bit coming out in March. Yeah, March update. Did you have time to change like the 6 lines of code for the non-KMS bosses? Oh, that's possible, yeah. Yeah, so that's going to be part of Destiny patch. Additional revamps to boss rewards, Kanna skill adjustments. Kanna skill adjustments in the summer. I mean, isn't summer 2022 going to be Destiny, therefore also going to have the major skill revamps that KMS is going to push through in like a few weeks? Isn't that going to be synchronized kind of for us? So there's going to be major skill adjustments for everyone, right? So Kanna having them is not going to be a surprise either way. 64-bit will not work in March. That's kind of what I'm afraid of, that we'll have the same startup issues that KMS did. For people who didn't follow all of that, basically the main function of the 64-bit client was that you could set your max amount of RAM that the computer could use to way higher, so your program would never really reach the number of RAM where it would start memory leaking. The problem, though, was that there was one option that you could set to just use as much as you want, basically, where the game would actually use as much as it wanted, which would work up to like whatever percentage of RAM was possibly free. And then when it hit that percentage and all your programs would start fighting over RAM, the game wouldn't necessarily crash, but your whole computer would start lagging because every single process was like sharing like a single brain cell that was left, and they were all like tugging at the last brain cell like, we want this part, which caused your whole system to fucking lag. So they had to disable that function, which was basically the pivotal function that was supposed to make the 64-bit client way better than the 32. And I think they managed to fix that whole memory allocation issue later, but they had to advise people to like not put it at the max, but put a little bit below that so that it was a safe buffer and whatever. So I hope that all of that will be taken care of before it actually rolls into March. Otherwise, it's kind of like over here we say like making someone happy with a dead sparrow. It's like, hey, look, here is a bird. It's like, it's dead. Yeah, but it's a bird. It's like, well, thanks, I guess. That's probably a very smart English saying for that. So that's for summer. To be determined in 2022, January to July. Yeah, so see, like I said, like there's nothing planned past the summer. The only, Reboot World, sale of pets that can obtain items in a broader range than other pets. Wow, that is a really interesting way of saying VEC pets. That's a lot of words for... That's a lot of words for VAC. To be fair to Noah, this didn't fit into one box, so I appreciate the abbreviation there. When you have to reach your word limit on the essay, true. 1.5 spacing between the line. Oh, Kyle says the same thing. Yeah, it's like trying to reach that word count. Player housing content? Oh, where you had like your secret hidden base that you could dress up. Lower Star Force enhancement cost by 20%. Oh, so they are buckling somewhat. 20% is going to be big, right? Because if we have double the cost and it's going down by 20%, then we'll end up at 1.6 times the cost of KMS anymore. That'll be pretty huge. And that is to be done somewhere between January and July. I guess it will depend on how big... Well, no, the Kanna changes are planned for February, right? Yeah. Oh no, for summer. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so I don't imagine that they do this before the because they said that it was summer. I don't imagine that they do this before summer. That wouldn't make much sense. I think they would look after this kind of skill adjustments to see how it changes the patterns and the upgrade costs and the general level of difficulty of acquiring certain upgrades, and then based on that, try to adjust the numbers to like cushion the blow from the changes. I imagine. But that is interesting that they already have that as a specific thing on the list. This is like pure fan service, by the way. I'm sure if you look at the numbers, this is totally unnecessary. But this is pure like catering to the masses, and you know, if that keeps people from playing, then yay for the game staying alive, I guess. But I'm pretty sure, I don't know, I'm still very curious if someone can do an actual numeric breakdown, but I'm sure it's probably completely unnecessary to maintain like strength and damage. But please note that for the sake of brevity for this memo, this is probably the longest memo we've ever had, though, no? The above list does not include all the content and events to be released in the future, and we also will not be going into too much detail about each item listed above yet. That's partially because they don't have that detail yet, and partially because every single thing you put on the list that is going to be there, whenever it's not there, you have to like apologize, and you know, you want to give people more insight in what you're doing, but you don't want to give them too much, because then they become part of the process, and then everyone has to be kept in the loop for everything, and it becomes a huge shit show. Like the fewer people know about something, the fewer people you have to account to, right? We simply wanted to provide a high-level look at the major content and changes in the near future that you may have questions about. We will provide more details about these items in the future, basically in patch notes, right, when they're about to be released. There are many more discussions and content planned for this year. However, we aren't ready to discuss or talk about them yet at this time. I really feel kind of bad for the team, because I'm sure that they're all trying their best, but I'm pretty sure they're just stuck between like the GMS community and whatever KMS like drips down onto them. Yeah, I mean, in the end, it's their jobs, and you know, this is part of their jobs, and that's a reality. But I also, you know, part of me kind of feels bad about about being stuck between those two things. Like, you want to give the people what they want, you know, you have the limited resources, you have the limited tools at your disposal, and you just, you know, try to allocate it as best you can. No, may be frustrating to hear, but we want to do our best to provide you with accurate information so that it doesn't cause more confusion. Yeah, which sometimes means staying more vague until you know more. As we mentioned, what is player housing content? Basically that you get like a little bit of a hideout where you can... Did you guys ever play MapleStory? MapleStory. Did you guys ever play MapleStory? It's a game about mushrooms and slimes. No. Did you guys ever play Pokemon, what it was, the Emerald, Sapphire, and Ruby, where you had like a hideout that you could like hang stuff on the wall, like you could put like a carpet down and stuff. You'll basically have your own little secret base where you could build like a little house, a little housey thing. It's kind of similar to that, basically. I don't think it's going to be something actively in the world that other people can visit, not quite like that, but it's more going to be like, I guess it's more similar to your farm. I guess people can visit farm, but it's not quite the same. But just like some area where you could just do your own thing. I'm not sure if other people can visit it. I think it was on here though. Oof, I don't remember where the... What was it part of? Special lessons in Toward-Haired Hero? I feel like it was on 6 months behind Wannabe Maple Idol. Haste and Tactical Relay. I don't remember. Choo Choo Food Festival? It was around here. The Seed reorganization. Yeah, these are all the things that were... well, if you go through the list of KMS, it's basically just the follow-up, right? It's the KMS stuff. Sorry, it's the Oz stuff. And then it's the Choo Choo Food Festival stuff. 64-bit client. The rates for the boxes. And the Haste and Tactical Relay. So maybe that's on the way. Wait, if you do control F, if you do like home or something... No, that's not a thing here. What's in this list? Choo-choo coin shop. No. Tactical relay improvements. Skills. No. Not too much on that. Want to be Maple Idol? Was it part of this? Overview. Haven't done anything. EFK event? No. I don't know exactly what it was, but... As we mentioned in a brief statement last week, we also know there are many more topics you're concerned about and questions you may have, even after reviewing the information mentioned above. We won't be able to answer all of your concerns at once, so please continue to let us know your thoughts and feedback, and we'll try to address as many of them as we can. Thank you, Dennis Savageates Bernardo, Senior Producer, MapleStory. I think the main thing is like the rates and what they're going to do with the... to go back with the flame and the cube rates. That, and just like... I don't know how often, but we do need them to know like how important it is that that server stability gets fixed. Because it does feel that they only started to do it as soon as like the boycott was announced, instead of the year before that when the servers were bad. I don't know to which extent they're aware that as soon as we went from 20 to 30 channels, that those 10 plus were like barely usable, and half of the channels from 1 to 20 also became kind of shitty. I wonder... Yeah, they were aware back then, but I think they kind of... If people stopped like mentioning it, and I think they kind of assumed that it improved or something, or that it wasn't as big a deal anymore because people stopped talking about it. And that now it's like, oh, now it's coming back or something. Because the way that you look at the information like that, that might also change how you're looking at information and how you're looking at data to see where you can see where the problem areas are. It's important that they know that it was never good. Like channel 20 to 30, I think channel 20 to 30 were okay when we got them in the beginning. But when, I think we lost them for a little bit and then they brought them back, right? I think at the moment when they brought them back, that's when everything started, and it was never good since then. Like, that's very important that's part of the, you know, research process, I think. The reboot changes is the shops and the droplets and the Monster Park badges. Right, that kind of stuff, yeah. Right. Christmas hasn't felt like Christmas since Happyville left. That, and I feel like the anniversary events haven't felt like anniversary events ever since they removed maple leaves and maple items in some kind of capacity. I feel like they have to be there for it to feel like a real anniversary, I think. I know, you guys could disagree. Biggest problem with this post is it doesn't address how when my next one will be providing more communication between us and the players. I wish at the end they stated when we could hear from them again. And they are planning to tackle communication with players from now on. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, something like there's going to be another memo in at most 2 weeks to give you guys an update on the current things. And not like, hey, we're still working on it. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. That's kind of like, I don't know, like being in the doctor's office is like, oh, I'll get to you as soon as I can. It's like, okay. And then like an hour later, you're like, hey, is it my turn yet? Oh, yeah. Oh, no, we definitely know. We're going to get back to you as soon as we can. Okay. 2 hours later, you're like, what the like, give me an update every 20 minutes or something, right? Like, you give me the update, not forcing me to come ask you the whole time. You're constantly putting the burden on you to like constantly ask. Well, you should be proactive about it, right? Bring back maple leaves and weapons. I guess it's because of the nostalgia, because I was there for every single anniversary from the first one all the way through the 7th one, I guess. And then like those first 7 versus the last 5 that I've experienced were very, very different. Just the feel was very different. But I guess the whole game changed in feel, so that makes sense. Able to VIP pass coupon times 30. I have to start running tour again. I mean, to be fair, that's only 6 days, right? That's only 1 week, and then you're good. Like less than a week, and you're good. Events are all just soulless clones of each other. Man, it was kind of disappointing to see the Destiny event, how it was built up compared to the live event. It's so similar, and like the rewards and the way that you can gather the points and everything. It's so similar. I do appreciate that every single time they do it at least a little bit different, though. It's never like a one-to-one copy, but man, is it so... First anniversary was the 4th. They each felt distinct and special. Yeah, I think because the Maple items back then were relevant for the meta, and every single time you had a slightly stronger one, so you had like the next step to go for. But the problem is, if they kept doing that, now you would have like Maple weapons that would need to like overpower Genesis weapons at this point to be relevant. And you can't really be doing that. It's like kill a monster, get a weapon stronger than your than your liberated Genesis weapon. You're like, oh shit, nice. I miss racing all the other players and hackers to pick up all the maple leaves on a big maple tree map. Oh god, that takes me back. You guys remember the cake versus pie events and stuff? Wasn't that around the anniversary as well? And you had those little candle monsters that dropped candles and shit. Yeah, cake v pie. Yeah, someone else said it in chat. Yeah. You remember the lag? Oh god, yeah. Whenever the monsters were spawned in a map and like in a town map, and everyone went there to go kill them. Oh. What's the status of the bongo? Oh yeah. Let's see. Okay. So no Bebe box. Yikes. GMS live chat boss rewards. So boss rewards aren't technically announced, but aren't for a while. Ignoring the boycott. Well, I think this whole thing is not about boycott. OneDroid was not announced. Dark Tomb not announced. Fixed BCMers. Extra DMT. More totem. Server prices go down. I guess technically it was announced. Yeah. Blame COVID. No. Next one. So it's a lot of the top 50% here from my generated card. Man, blaming COVID would have been a bingo actually. Dennis, can I get the scoop? Wait, let me hit him up on Discord. Can you just tell me that COVID was at least partially to blame, so we can? Scardor predicted the Kishi nerf years ago. He's a go to legend argue with me. I mean, in general, I feel like it was something that was good for the balance of the game and for the bringing the new players back. But it was also very clear that it was not something they could do overnight, and something they had to do in not in instances. What's the word I'm looking for? Like in tranches? In iterations, right? And they have been doing that for the last 3 years. So I think it made sense that they were just like slowly moving back in that direction. Pretty sure if you leave now and you come back like a year or two from now, Kishin is basically just a boss debuff or something and gives the whole party like 20 IED when it hits the little ghosts hit the boss, and you just put it on the boss to help your party with IED. And that way, Kanna's IED actually gets help too for their bossing capabilities. Increments, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Fighting the big cake boss in Ludi. Yeah, I was in Ludi as well a lot around that time, yeah. Boss Roars was mentioned? Yeah, I guess technically, yeah, that's true. There were some potions though. I feel like Bebe Box can kind of be colored, right? Because there are some rewards, stuff that would be in, you know, like symbol selector coupons and cubes. It's kind of like the equivalent of a Bebe Box, right? Even though it's not exactly a Bebe Box, it's like a combination. That is greater than Anna confirmed. Dude, can you guys imagine how relieved Anna is that she's like out of this shit? Man. Imagine like leaving the position, someone else taking it back over, and then right after this kind of shit happens, you're like, oh god. That's good timing. What's so good about Sherbet? It basically, so we call it a vac pad, because basically it works like a vacuum, like a Hoover. Like it sucks up the drops from a pretty wide range around it, and it just sucks them all towards the pad. You don't have to walk exactly over the items. So maps that have more platforms, or the platforms are further apart, basically become way more viable if they also have more monsters and more monsters to kill, as long as you can rotate the map properly. So it kind of opens up the meta as to which maps people go to, but it also makes your rotations of the map cleaner, and it increases your overall rates, either from a little bit to a lot of bit, depending on what map you're in. It just makes looting way less tedious as well. Duration is not going to be able to be extended. No, I'm like a 99% sure of that they're not going to allow you to do that. These things are just too valuable to allow for that. The Dyson pet. Yeah, we could call it, should we call it a Dyson pet? We should get sponsored. Dude, if I get sponsored by Dyson, Dyson vacuums and hoovers, hit me up, okay? I will start referring to it as a Dyson pet from now on. It's fucking free real estate. I dropped something. But yeah, I guess it's a lot, right? It's a lot to well, the Happyville music in the background. How appropriate was that to them? They mentioned something about Vax coming eventually. Yeah, they basically said it's not coming yet, in exactly those words. So not basically, so they literally said it's not coming yet. So it is somewhere on the list. But like they said, with a lot of things, they want to implement them. When they implement them is important, and everything else being in place to be able to receive the implementation seems to be a thing that's constantly a problem. And again, I do kind of feel for the team because you have content from so many different regions that's all like packed into GMS. And I just imagine the interactions, the weird interactions between everything has to be a lot to deal with. Like we were talking with Kami recently, right? That he meant, like, I already forgot about it, but there was a time where all of the androids would like trigger the 3-pet snow igloo effect at some point. I was like, how does it even happen? Like, how is the spaghetti code so get its wires so crossed that suddenly like that's one of the weird things. So that just only leaves up to the imagination how interesting it must be to work with the code of MapleStory. Don't refresh the site, by the way. It's very much down. Oh, well, we read through everything, so it's okay. I'm surprised they didn't nerf totems. I think totems are a way easier way to kind of keep control. It's a much more controllable way because of the scaling, right? I mean, what's most likely going to happen is that people's Kishin mules, Kanna mules, second PC Kannas, whatever you want to call them, that those are gonna be used more and more to get more reward points. Possibly, link your Maple M account to it, get some free reward points, do some daily bosses, weekly bosses on that character, and just buy extra totems with that character instead of using Kishin. Possibly with even a third and a fourth account. I think in general that's probably going to be more efficient than to deal with the slower return of monsters, both mentally and and for growth purposes. If the issue of 17 a month maximum wild totems remains unfixed, I imagine that 2 PC meta will continue to create gaps in progression when compared to 1 PC players as possible. Next one. Oh yeah, you're just saying exactly what I just said, Zelpix, yeah. Happy to have that too many cooks in the kitchen. Yeah, and everyone wants to put their own special spin on the dish, right? I remember thinking they were gonna remove all spawn enhancers after. Yeah, even if they do, you just take that bump when it comes to it, and then you just like a lot of people will get over this much faster than they think now, and the people who think they're completely unable to handle with this will leave, and that's probably for the better for themselves and for the community as well, because these people are either going to stay and just be perpetually angry and be like a toxic thing like festering within the community, or they're going to leave and they're going to discover that there's a bunch of other games that they're actually going to enjoy way more, and that they're going to be able to identify with way better, and that's going to value their time better, and they'll be happier for it as well. Because there's a lot of people who are playing this game probably too much. There's a lot of people who burn out on this game, but there's also still a lot of people who really care about this game and wanted to succeed. And but yeah, even for those people, after a while you kind of have to call it quits, I guess. But yeah, hopefully this is a positive extension of everyone's I was gonna say of everyone's suffering, but is any extension of suffering positive? That's probably not a thing. But of everyone's hopes and desires and aspirations for this game. I need to make a second Maple M account for my second Maple account. Oh, I thought you were gonna make a second Maple M account for your third Maple account. Because you're gonna have 2 Kanna mules, right? That's so that you can. I mean, because 34 totems is like amateur hour, right? You're gonna go at least 51 totems, right, Miria? Being like 5 accounts and 5 Maple M accounts to keep adding more totems will be a pain. Yeah, but there will be people who do it. As always, just because we can think of it will mean that there are definitely people who can do it. Imagine playing this game if you don't think it's fun. Yeah, I'm sure if you poll people, Ketty, I'm sure if you poll how many people like actually have fun on a daily basis playing this game, I will guess it's lower than 40%. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like around 30 to 35 at best, like 1 in 3 people. I think most people just do it out of like upkeep or FOMO for what if stuff comes out and I don't have like $1 trillion to spend on it kind of thing. I feel like we change totems because 2PC meta will remain like this. I think 2PC meta will always stay because in general, in every single video game, you always have some kind of advantage of 2 PCs over 1. And if you add that to the fact that people have already invested accounts in the other computer, in the other account on another computer, there will always be something that will be enough of an advantage for people to keep taking advantage of it because they already have that investment in the beginning. 2 PCs in League. Yeah, you can always queue on another account, be on the other team, throw the other team, and get yourself a win, right? Like, there's always some kind of scenario where there is a 2 PC advantage. It's too big of an advantage? Well, that's where it comes down to, right? That's where the debate is. That's where the considerations have to come on. Is like, is this too big of an advantage, or is it an advantage that's unavoidable and that we're willing to take into it? The access to totems and everything. What I would like to see is maps that are made for multiple people being able to train at the same time, so that people can just train on a map with other people, and that in some way, like, you get more runes or something, you know, something to take that into account, and that people will just alternate using totems, and that one person uses a totem, everyone gets the extra spawn on the map, and then you just alternate totems basically, and that you scale up that way. If you have like huge maps, and maybe you don't even have to be partied, or maybe you just, you know, you party alongside each other or something, and you have maybe room for 2, 3, 4 people on a map or something. Of course, in the current stage, that would either have to be a huge map or the monsters have to respawn really, really quickly, and then that way you can 2x, 3x, 4x your access to totems, and then if you throw having a 2 PC into the mix there, you could get some benefit out of it, but it wouldn't be as big of a deal because you already would have access to 3x or 4x totems. And then going from 4x to 5x is a smaller percentage increase than going from 1x to 2x, right? So something like that, like, I could definitely see as a way to kind of discourage, not discourage, but make people feel less bad for not having the setup, right? Again, imagine getting from 285 to 286 with only 1 PC. Yeah, I don't even know what realm of masochism you have to be in to like train off totems on 285. I feel like it's faster to build an 8k Legion without totems than to go from 285 to 286 on an existing character. That's a problem that needs to be solved. Not necessarily. I think the main problem there is how quickly new content is coming out and new areas are coming out. I think that's more of a problem. Plus, there's still the desire for the people in the game to progress very, very quickly when it's supposed to be slower. The combination of those two things, I think, are also aspects that you have to take into account in that whole equation. What do you think the community reaction to raising HP and EXP further would be? Just like supercharging the monsters? Or just level 280 monsters and 285 and 290 and everything is just more EXP, more HP? I mean, that's probably inevitable, right? I think the main problem is how much more sacred power you need, and it's like, oh, look, all these new monsters, but you're gonna need another 6 months before you can scratch these monsters. I don't like that kind of stuff, because that doesn't feel like a solution. That feels like a, you know, come on, invest 6 more months into us, please. I feel like in some way party play would be, or party play, or multiplay, or multiple people on one map play, or even if you don't have to be in a party, like something like that to scale up on totems seems more of an organic way of doing it than having a lot more like artificial way of logging another computer in next to you. Plus, you can only do that up to a certain point, right? If you go like 280, 285, like how far are you going to keep getting your Kishimyo? Although that's kind of more of an argument for the 2PC meta being phased out, because at a certain point it's not going to be worth it anymore to... Well, it's going to be worth it, but it's going to be so incredibly insane to get like your Kishi meal to 285 to get into to a level 285 area, or to totem you know, if that's the case. So that would lead to some weird situations. 34 hours a month grinding is fine for me. It's already almost a full work week. I never get even close to those numbers. But again, I play the game very differently, so I'm trying to get some input from all the different directions at this point. I was thinking making later game areas more like old Lion King Castle or Party. Play farming was basically the best thing to do. Yeah, we do need more stable servers before that though, because we can't have people constantly like coming in and crashing and disappearing and coming back, and like that's really stressful if you're trying to get like the best rates in the game. So I would like to see increased server stability before that's a thing. Because if you're soloing, you can be like, ah, fuck it. But if you're like training in a party, you can't just say, ah, fuck it. Then you either have to log back in, or you have to get a replacement, or you're like fucking everyone else over. Because they'll be like, why didn't you log back in? We were counting on you for like another 90 minutes, you know. That's another thing that you have to take into account there, because you don't want your game's instability to make it so that people start hating each other for how they interact with the game's shitty mechanics, right? So that game stability is paramount. Ultra Legion again. MapleStory website crashed. Some people said that it was crashing. Yeah, that a lot of people were. I guess I'll copy this one. Let me try to refresh, see if it's working. Oh man, it is actually. Well, at least a lot of people are going to be aware of what's going on, I guess. Guys, if you are in the chat right now, you don't have to refresh, okay? Well, you kind of have to now because I pressed the button. But here, read it really quickly, okay? But yeah, let me know how you guys over on YouTube, how you guys feel about it, what server you're in, and how you see all the changes. But yeah, I think it was pretty expected. A little bit more information here than I was expecting, honestly. I wasn't expecting this mentioned. But nothing super surprising. I hope they get to the bottom of the servers quickly. And once again, to reiterate, it was when we went back from 20 to 30 servers, to channels, that the channel 20 plus and like half the channels, you know, like the non-prime channels was really solidified. And that really made, I think that's where the source of the problems is. So if they can find out what is significantly different in the infrastructure or in the supply chain or whatever the fuck goes on behind the scenes, I don't know how servers work. The little hamsters and the wheels that are running around, you know, those things. Maybe those hamsters were actually, they came from a lab or something where they were tested with some product, and then because of the testing, they actually like developed superior muscle mass, and they're able just to keep up with the extra load of all the players logging in at a certain time. I don't fucking know. But it seems that there's some structural difference between the roided hamsters and the weak hamsters on the other servers. So if you can just get more roids to the hamsters, I think that'll start solving a lot of the problems. Plus, that'll fix the baseline problems I think that a lot of players have, and that really spurred on the boycott. So if they want to get rid of that, because I don't think this is going to be enough for people like, okay, boycott's over, chill. For some people it might be, but in general, and I do agree with someone said in chat, is that it would be a good idea to do like a short follow-up. One thing I would want to see exactly specified, if they're talking about just the respawn timer increase for Kishin, or the complete effect of Kishin altering in any way the spawn. That first of all, and then second of all, an admission on when the next official communication is going to be, if it's going to be in 1 week, in 2 weeks, to give us an update. I think those two things are super important. So yeah, that's like my official feedback, I guess. But let me know how you guys feel about all the other stuff, and how this is going to affect your planning, I guess, in the next 6 months. How you're going to, if you're going to change anything, you're going to stop playing, or you're going to start playing different things, or you're going to start building up boss mules or anything like that. Let me know. Looking forward to your thoughts.